So what was humanity like in 1844? We were going through an incredibly potent time of upheaval and change on all levels, in all corners of the world, from social aspect to scientific. There were new inventions coming into being every day. There were new ways of thinking. There were new relationships being forged among different peoples and groups within society. Really a reshaping of the world was going on at that time. And indeed, the spiritual upheaval and change was also happening too.
We have also the floods recently, right? So these are your
Viele der offenen Herzen durchzuführen und da kann ich nur sagen, einen riesen Respekt allen, die
How can a society with diverse views of history, culture, and value, some seemingly at odds with each other, forge a common identity that transcends differences and does not privilege some groups or diminish the worth of others?
Bahá'í communities worldwide, inspired by Abdu'l-Bahā's life and work as a herald of peace and upholder of the principle of the oneness of humanity, have been commemorating the centenary of his passing. At the same time, representatives of Bahá'í communities from nations and regions around the world journeyed to the Holy Land for a historic gathering to honor him in the very land where he passed away.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. I once was blind.
You are listening to the Baha'i World News Service. This edition of the podcast is about a new musical called Henry Box Brown, which is on tour this month at the internationally renowned Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, Scotland. The performance, which explores the themes of racial equality and unity, is not designed to just entertain and educate. It is one of many examples of contributions to vital discourses in society. It is raising consciousness about fundamental Baha'i principles such as the oneness of humankind, the elimination of all forms of prejudice, and justice. The musical stimulates rich conversations about the themes it explores and encourages audience members to take practical measures to contribute to race unity.
I'm Mary Mansouri, and I am the writer of Henry Box Brown. I was searching for a story that would tell a hero in American history who's African American descent. I was at a book fair for a middle school for my nephew, and I saw this picture book called Henry Box Brown. And I was like, what is this? And it's about a slave who put himself in a box, and it's a children's picture book, like one line a page. So I thought, if somebody's written a children's book about it, we can turn it into a script. And so then I started asking for help in writing songs, at first with great rejection from everyone because they thought I was crazy. But then Hinton Battle, he's an African-American 3-time Tony winner, and he heard a couple of the songs and he said, I'll get you some Broadway singers. We'll give you a great cast album that has the songs recorded nicely so the kids can go home and practice it. And of course the kids are excited to hear this music legitimately recorded. And then other folks got involved, like Mr. Ben Harney, the director, and eventually Jack Lenz, who really, with Frank Sanchez as the main arranger, composer, and co-creator of the songs, just lifted it. So it was really a combination of finding a good story and finding the right storytellers through music.
Oil inside this bone and yield. I didn't want to go that bad. Keep your hands on that plow. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your
I'm Jack Lenz. I'm from Toronto, Canada. It's very rich because all of these songs that had come from oppression, that had come from forgiveness of the oppressors, and all of these songs that had come from songs that distracted you from the brutality of the life that you were in. And all of these songs connected to God, which is really what music is for. Why we have it. We don't have it because it suddenly appeared. It's always been connected to the worship of God and the universality of sentiment and feelings that this kind of music brings forward, which is really the gratefulness to God, thankfulness to God, recognition of how important it is to have this sustaining power in your life, and especially if you lived through slavery, you can't imagine.
I wish I could share all that is, all the love that's in my heart. Remove the hate, the pain and fear that rips us all apart. I kneel beside you here today, kneel with you and pray that we are friends today and all our yesterdays. A promise of light and color, promise of green hills and summers. Give me the chance, the one chance to be free. He'll never leave me alone. Seeds of love he has sown. Promise of God above is love.
I am Najee Brown. I'm a member of the cast of Henry Box Brown. He was unique because he knew how to read. The fact that he felt like the only way out was to ship himself in this very tiny box. The box that we actually use is probably double the size that he actually shipped himself in. It was very small. And he was willing to die, to be free. It speaks to now in a way that we don't really realize. In this world that we live in where everybody's kind of like a man for themselves, or I'm going to get mine and I don't care about anybody else. No one's thinking like that, you know? No one's thinking about the freedom of others. That's the kind of strength that doesn't exist today. And if we looked at it like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes for this freedom, we would be in a much better place. I think so.
Ben Harney, director of Henry Box Brown. It is an amazing story of vision, heroism, boldness, courage, audacity, and it is the backdrop, of course, is in a very merciless and unfriendly set of circumstances, and the cost is high. And you realize that someone doing something like that didn't do it by themselves. What I've seen is certainly similar to my response, is that it's very timely. And that's both wonderful and kind of, unfortunate in that it seems to have elements of a story that click so consistently with things that are coming out in our world today. And they've always been there, there's nothing new. The story of this man who was subjugated, who was literate, had skills and the ability to do many things. I'm just talking about just in his pure humanity, and had passions, deeply loved that ultimately his wife and children, was ripped from his mother and his early bearings, ultimately got to the point where it was too much. And in his case, rather than just succumb and give up, he became creative. I mean, what an amazing idea. I'll mail myself, which also says he couldn't have done it by himself. He had to have help, both on this end and on that.
They'll know it's pain and strife. So be strong, for I must in my crusade. We'll be strong, for God's will must be obeyed. And skin color never tells a man the way he should behave.
As certain systems and institutions may start to disintegrate, other systems are being simultaneously created that represent forces of integration.
Baha'is are striving every day in this process of integration to be conscious of the fact that everyone is a member of the human family, and that takes precedence over every other piece of our identity. We have national identities and racial identities in the world today, but our truest identity is that we're all human.
So it was really easy for me
The spiritual identity, which calls for a complete reorganization of human relationships that the world has never seen before.
So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth.
Baha'u'llah, whose name means the glory of God, was born in Persia in 1817 and was renowned for his generosity, compassion, keen intelligence, and excellent character. In the middle of the 19th century, Baha'u'llah was summoned by God to reveal a new message to humanity, a new revelation from God, thereby ushering an era of universal peace. Baha'u'llah's teachings form the basis of the Baha'i faith, and it's a message of infinite hope for all of humanity.
Baha'u'llah has brought this revelation that we are all members of one human family, and we're working towards this idea of universal peace, and that's really the foundation for the work that we're doing.
We don't have a faith that stands apart and is meant just for Baha'is. Rather, our whole purpose is to serve humanity, and so we're constantly reaching out in a spirit of collaboration with others.
The Baha'i community offers various activities to unite the community, such as devotional gatherings for people of all different backgrounds to come together and pray, classes for children that focus on their spiritual education, groups for junior youth to be of service to their community, and then a series of courses for people who are 15 and up to have spiritual conversations and really reflect on our lives and to build the capacity to be of service. From these activities stem different social action projects that would be appropriate for that community.
What the Baha'is are trying to do right now is to just really create community life in the places where we live. That involves just getting people together in different spaces. And one of those spaces is the Devotional Gathering.
We have devotionals about twice a month.
A lot of the people, they never had a gathering like when the Baha'is have devotion. Different peoples from different backgrounds and different religions.
We believe in opening our homes and our hearts.
This is the place where Baha'is and their friends are coming together to join in prayer, from which we realign our purposes and we gain that unseen energy that sustains all the different things we do in a community. The Spiritual Education of Children program seeks to try to help young children between 6 and 11 develop those qualities that they inherently possess through prayer, through memorizing quotes, and then they learn stories, they sing songs.
To be able to have the children class here in my community is really important. Most of the kids in my children class came from an immigrant family. So this children class is like a place where the kids can have fun together, learn from each other, and to inspire each other.
The moment that really touched my heart is that every weekend I see them coming and being really excited to learn about anything and to do like arts and crafts and just like playing with each other.
I'm seeing changes from the children. They will be motivated, they will be like singing a lot, they'll be praying, and then they will be really friendly to each other and then know how to treat each other.
The Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program is for those ages 11 to 14. They go through a series of stories about different junior youth across the world and examine different spiritual concepts such as hope versus despair, the idea of justice. And then they examine their own talents, their own interests, and think, what does the community need and how can we play a role in bettering our communities?
It's a conduit for them to do service in their communities, to further their education.
After a few minutes.
And a way to socialize in a healthy environment. It's facilitated by an animator who helps draw forth the voices of the junior youth. It's their group. I realized sort of once I kind of just let them do their thing, they'll take it from there.
In order to offer these services, Baha'is and their friends are equipping themselves with these capacities to be able to offer programs like the Spiritual Education of Children, or the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program. And the way that we're doing this is through the Study Circle program.
The Study Circle is a group of people who are coming together and studying spiritual material, kind of discussing about them and investigating the implications of those things on their lives.
What does it mean in my day-to-day life that let deeds, not words, be my authority? And how do I apply those beautiful ideals in the way that I interact with people and in the different services that I render in my community?
Once we've been in a neighborhood working with the children and junior youth of that community, from these activities, of course, stem different social action projects that would be appropriate for that community.
These youth, they could identify the problems. So we're pulling together resources to accomplish, at first, small service projects, trash pickups, visiting the elders, and they've gradually become more complex. After 4 years of doing service projects, it became a part of their nature to serve others.
This is the changeless faith of God, eternal in the past, eternal in the future.
Baha'u'llah teaches that there is one God, and that all the religions are part of one divinely revealed process by which God makes his will and purpose known to humanity. Although we may differ in our concepts of God's nature, although we may pray in different languages and call God by different names, we are speaking about that same transcendent being.
This process of uniting humankind has begun, and there's no turning back. It's going to be long, it's going to take a lot of work, and there's going to be many challenges along the way, but we'll also grow, both individually and also collectively.
The idea that everybody has a part to play, no matter how large or small, is really important because it speaks to a consciousness that we are all connected to the same purpose.
And so that means on a daily basis, you're reflecting on, am I working towards the oneness of humanity? Am I seeing in the people around me, my brother, my sister? Am I reflecting on the teachings and writings of Baha'u'llah? If all of us are doing that, individually, our efforts become collective and change actually happens.
We can build a better world together, but it's going to take every single person seeing themselves as part of this collective whole and seeing what difference they can make.
Fariba Kamalabadi,
Jamaluddin Khanjani,
Afif Naimi,
Saeed Rezai,
Mavash Sabet,
Behruz Tabakoli,
Vahid Tisfam, developmental psychologist,
factory owner,
business owner,
agricultural engineer,
teacher,
social worker,
optometrist,
illegal detention,
solitary confinement,
little to no access to lawyers,
held in appalling conditions,
appalling conditions,
refused appropriate medical care,
missed graduations,
missed weddings,
missed births,
missed funerals,
watched as friends were imprisoned,
imprisoned, watched as businesses were destroyed,
watched as their family lives were methodically stripped away.
This is life for the 7 leaders of Iran's Baha'i community.
And it has to stop.
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 Please join us.
Please join us.
Please join us in saying, not another year.
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 Not another year.